The wedding bells chimed as if mocking the truth behind the ceremony. Beneath the grandeur of white roses, champagne flutes, and the smiling guests, a secret twisted in the groom's smirk, a secret that would shatter hearts, build lives, and ultimately, change one man forever. Jason Reed, the 34-year-old tech millionaire, stood at the altar in a designer tuxedo, surrounded by flashbulbs and shallow congratulations. Tall, chiseled, and dripping with the charm of a man used to getting what he wanted, Jason had built his fortune on a social media platform that connected people, but ironically, left him emotionally detached from real connection. The bride, standing across from him, was not what anyone expected. Emily Dawson was not the slim, camera-ready woman people imagined would marry a millionaire. At 5 feet 4 inches and nearly 300 pounds, Emily walked with grace but carried a lifetime of judgment on her shoulders. She was a schoolteacher, with a heart twice the size of her body, and a laugh that made even the coldest people feel warmth. But none of that mattered in Jason's world, because this wedding wasn't built on love. It was built on a cruel bet made in a penthouse lounge, with his friends half-drunk and full of ego. "She'll never say yes," one of them laughed, waving a $1,000 bottle of scotch. Jason smirked. "Watch me." The bet was simple: marry a fat woman and stay with her for at least 6 months. The prize? $5 million added to his already bloated bank account, not that he needed it. But Jason loved games. And to him, Emily was just another game to win. What he didn't expect was to lose himself. Emily, unaware of the bet, had fallen for Jason's charm. He pursued her with an intensity that scared her at first, but he wore down her walls with compliments, attention, and grand gestures. For the first time in years, someone looked at her as if she were enough. 6 weeks later, they were engaged. The media ran with it, calling it a modern fairy tale. Emily ignored the online comments calling her a gold digger and PR stunt. She believed in love. And when Jason whispered, "You're beautiful," as he kissed her forehead at night, she believed that too. The first few weeks of marriage were awkward. Jason kept his distance, buried in business meetings and trips. He rarely touched her, never really talked about his past or feelings. Emily, in her loving, patient way, tried to break through. She cooked him dinner, left sweet notes, and even began exercising, not for him, but for herself, inspired by the desire to live a longer life together. Then came the turning point. One night, Jason came home drunk, laughing to himself. He didn't know Emily was awake. She stood frozen behind the staircase as she overheard him on the phone. "Bro, I'm almost there. 3 more months and $5 million is mine." She's still clueless. Emily's heart shattered. She didn't scream. She didn't cry. She just stood there, her soul hollowing out. The next morning, she was gone. Jason woke up to silence. No scent of her cinnamon pancakes. No soft humming from the kitchen. Just a cold note on the bed. "You win, Jason. But you've lost something you'll never get back." In the weeks that followed, Jason expected to feel victorious. But what he felt was haunted. He missed the way Emily made the house feel like home. The way she listened, really listened, when he talked. How she touched his hand during storms, grounding him. He began to see her absence as a presence he couldn't ignore. Then he found her journal. Hidden in a drawer, it was filled with pages about their life together. Her fears. Her hope that maybe, just maybe, someone could see beyond her body and love the woman inside. She had even written about having kids with him, their names, her dreams of reading bedtime stories. Jason broke. He wept. For her. For the lie. For the man he had become. For months, he searched for her. He left his company, sold his penthouse, and went off the grid. No one knew where she had gone, not her family, not her colleagues. Until one day, in a small town in Oregon, he saw her. She was working at a local bookshop, smiling at a child and handing over a storybook. She looked healthier, her eyes softer but wiser. The moment she saw him, her expression froze. He approached slowly. "I know you don't owe me anything," Jason said, voice shaking. "But I owe you everything." She didn't speak. "I was an idiot. I took a bet. And I broke the only good thing I ever had. I've spent months thinking about the way you laughed, the way you loved. You didn't just love me, you saw me. And I didn't even see you. Tears welled up in her eyes, but she blinked them back. You hurt me in a way I didn't know was possible, she whispered. I loved you. And you made me feel like a joke. I know, he nodded. I don't expect forgiveness. But I needed to tell you the truth. And tell you that I fell in love with you, Emily. Somewhere between pretending and pretending not to care, I fell for the woman you are. There was silence. Then Emily said, you don't love someone you humiliate. Jason nodded. Maybe I don't deserve love. But I'm going to spend the rest of my life being the kind of man who does. He didn't ask her to come back. He didn't beg. He left, letting her choose. Months passed. Jason began volunteering, starting a foundation for emotional abuse survivors. He rebuilt himself from the inside, and it showed. He no longer lived for status, but for purpose. Then, one afternoon, a package arrived on his doorstep. It was a book, a children's story. On the first page, in her handwriting, it said, once upon a time, a man lost a bet, but found something far more valuable. Himself. Let's start again. Emily. Jason smiled through tears. The story wasn't over. Message: love isn't found in appearances, status, or games. It's in truth, respect, respect, and the courage to grow. We all make mistakes, but redemption begins with honesty, and real love begins when we see the soul, not the surface.